The term flipped training came out of education. It's a best practice because educators found that students would only learn information long enough to pass a test when they were taught passively and in only one pass. So they found that if they gave the students content first on their own to review it, reflect on it, and write about it, and then come back to the classroom the next day to talk about it with their classmates and look at its relevance, make sure they understood it, and talk about how they'd apply it, the information stuck. The students owned and applied the content. So in flipped training, even though it's got the word training in it, it's really multiple exposure and engagement with content. So on the training side of it, it's individual online training modules. It's filling out a workbook. It's completing a post-training reflection survey. It's participating in monthly group review sessions, which includes everyone taking a turn leading at least one of these group sessions on a rotational basis. When you do lead a group session, you spend time in a group facilitator prep session with your Lifework Systems oversight consultant. Other ways that you're engaging with the content include monthly mentoring sessions or joining a committee to find ways to keep integrating the culture concepts and tools, or becoming a culture subject matter expert who interviews, onboards, and supports new employees into your culture transformation process. So what we've done is we've taken that best practice in education and we've gone to the next level with it, where we've kind of taken that flipped idea and put it on steroids. So why is an immersion process crucial? Here's a story that best illustrates this. I worked with a group of 52 leaders who ranged from supervisor all the way up through executive. Anyone with direct reports at a company of 550 people. Rather than engage in an immersive process, or what we sometimes call a deep dive project, they asked for a review process of all the tools and concepts in our culture change process, which is more than 30. They asked me to deliver content from the individual online modules and help them to briefly engage in understanding them. I delivered what is now called our leader review every other week for 6 months. In one of the initial sessions, I introduced 2 tools that are designed to reduce or eliminate gossip. One of them is called the Mind Trust. And in the Mind Trust, which is a face-to-face agreement, 2 people make these commitments to one another. They are, I won't say bad things about you behind your back. I will come to you if I have a problem with you and work it out with you. If anyone else comes to me to say bad things about you, I'll stop them. And I'll encourage this person to go to you and to work it out with you so that they don't hold on to a grudge or take it to others. The group got really excited about this tool, and they agreed when I asked them to make this commitment to everyone in this group of 52 leaders before the next session. They enthusiastically agreed to do that. At the end of the 6 months, one of the leaders, who was a director over 8 of the leaders in his department, called me and he said, "There are 9 of us who were part of the leader review process. We've learned so much from you, but we're not really sure how to apply what we've learned, and we're still having significant interpersonal problems amongst us. Can you come in and work with us for a few days to guide us in how to apply what we've learned?" And I said, "Well, I'm going to be talking with your CFO this afternoon. I'll find out if there's budget for this." When I called the CFO and asked her about this director's request, she told me this: "Oh, he really needs this. He was in a meeting with his leaders and he was saying bad things about me. And it upset 2 of them so much, they came to me and told me all the bad things that he was saying about me." And I asked her, "Did you ask them if they stopped him? Because don't they have a mind trust with you?" And she said, "Oh, I didn't think of that." And I said, "Well, then I guess you didn't ask them if they went to him directly because they had a mind trust with him and they had a problem with this." And she said, "No, I didn't think of that either." And I said, "Once you knew that this director was saying bad things about you and you had a problem with him, did you go directly to him and bring it up to him because of the mind trust you have with him?" And she said, "No. Actually, I went and I tattled on him to his boss, and then I found out his boss was at the meeting too, and he didn't stop him even though he and I have a mind trust too." And then she said, "What's wrong with all of us?" And I said, "There's nothing wrong with you. Because you did a skim of this material, when you received the Mind Trust tool, it was like I gave you a tennis racket and you thought it made you all tennis players. The reality is that getting a tennis racket alone is not a replacement for watching the game, learning the nuances and rules, considering all that goes into it, getting out on the tennis court, receiving coaching, falling in love with tennis, and developing muscle memory. It's the time that we put into the learning, the practicing, and the finding value that makes a skill stick and be useful. And this is why we now tell this story, because the immersive process requires about 4 to 4.5 hours every month for a year. To master new concepts and manage new behaviors, we must go out of our way to learn them and use them. Otherwise, what we learn becomes like a new tennis racket, briefly enjoyed, but then put away and forgotten.